When you're decorating your home this holiday season, think about using some alternative holiday houseplants for decorating other than the traditional poinsettia. Now this is a hibiscus, and fortunately for us in Oklahoma, it does well in a sunny window through the winter, but it does even better out on the patio the following summer because it loves high temperatures and full sun. But for now, you can take it into your home and enjoy it for the holidays. This is one plant, though, that is a heavy feeder. In fact, many of them have been growing in the same pot for several months in the greenhouse where they were raised. And as soon as the holidays are over, you may want to think about shifting it up to a larger pot to give it more room to grow. Remember to fertilize it with each watering and do keep it in full sun. Now the hibiscus is a wonderful plant in that we have a lot of choices of colors. Of course, there's the traditional red that we often see in pictures, but there are many other varieties available. This one is called Euterpe, and it has a light orange outside and a nice red center, which is a little bit different than we're used to seeing. They also come in a lovely pink, and some come in salmon colors, and then back here is another two-tone form that I think looks like it came fresh off the boat from Hawaii. It has a red center and a yellow edge around it. Very, very pretty. Again, keep in mind that hibiscus are heavy feeders. They want full sun and plenty of moisture. And keep an eye out for spider mites and aphids on them, because these can become a problem as the plant sits in your home for a long period of time, especially if you have other plants that are otherwise affected. When you go to set it outside next summer, either put it directly in the ground or put it in an even larger pot, make sure it gets plenty of moisture, and it'd be a good idea to keep it out of strong winds, such as hot, drying winds from the southwest, so that it doesn't dry out too quickly. Now, another holiday plant is the cyclamen. This is a beautiful plant that needs to be grown in a cool greenhouse to get it to this stage, and once you bring it home, make sure you keep it in as cool and humid a place as possible. Either a room that you don't use very often, in a north or east window, and someplace with high humidity. Possibly you might want to group it with other house plants to raise the humidity level, or set it in a tray of pebbles that are in water. Set the pot on top of that to maintain the humidity levels. Now the cyclamen, again, comes in a nice cherry red, a white, and a fuchsia color, and it will keep flowering for several weeks after you receive it. And then during the spring and summertime, it will need to go dormant. So between now and spring, you need to continue feeding it, keep it in a cool, moist place, and then during the summer, hold back on feeding and just water it so that its growth will slow down and it will have a rest period. Then again in the fall, start feeding it again so that it can begin to set flower buds for a nice show next Christmas. And some other plants that you may not have thought about are right here, the ornamental peppers. This is a nice plant, especially neat and tidy to set on a desktop, and it has cherry red colors for Christmas time. Now another form of the ornamental pepper that is round is also called the Jerusalem cherry. Both of them are a nice pot plant to have indoors. Because they're in the pepper family, as you might have guessed, they like to have bright light, so they need full sun and fairly warm conditions. This is another one that you can set outside next summer. But remember, it is not hardy, and so the following winter you'll need to bring it back in again. Norfolk Island pine is a houseplant that you may not normally think of as a Christmas plant, but more and more we're seeing people who live in apartments or have cramped living space in general using these as Christmas trees. And there's a larger one behind me that would be just ideal for a Christmas tree. You could put some small twinkle lights on it and some very lightweight ornaments for a nice, attractive addition to your holiday decorating. And when the holidays are over, you just take the ornaments off, and you've got a nice houseplant for the rest of the season. Keep in mind, though, that with Norfolk Island pine, it too, like the cyclamen, likes cool, humid conditions. So it's not a good idea to keep it in a hot south window, especially during the summertime. fact, I know some people who will move their Norfolk Island pine out to the shade on the north or east side of their house in a protected spot to keep it cooler during the summertime. Christmas cactus is a plant that probably a lot of you are very familiar with. This one is just now beginning to set buds. Now with Christmas cactus, this is a plant that you don't want to overwater. It is a succulent. It doesn't like heavy watering, although it does have very exacting conditions for making it set flower buds. If you have yours sitting in a living room where the lights are on all evening long, the year round, it probably won't set buds. The trigger that makes Christmas cactus flower are either short days or very cool temperatures. Now sometimes there's confusion between Christmas cactus and Thanksgiving cactus. This one behind me in the hanging basket is a Thanksgiving cactus, and the lobes on the leaves are very pointed. They have rather jagged edges, whereas back down here on my left, on the Christmas cactus, the lobes on the leaves are very rounded. That's an easy way to tell the difference in the two. Now the way to bring them both into flowering is the same though, with a combination of short days and cool temperatures. Some other holiday plants are the paper white narcissus. These were forced a few weeks ago and brought into a sunny room to grow. They have a very heady aroma, reminds you of spring. It's a nice thing to have around the holidays, a nice thing to give someone as a gift. And last of all is the amaryllis. Comes in either kit form or you can start it from a bulb yourself. And this again is something that you can keep growing from year to year and enjoy every holiday season. Probably the most traditional holiday plant that we see around Christmas time is the poinsettia. It's the one we've known for years and are the most familiar with. The poinsettia is a member of the euphorbia group of plants. It's related very closely to crown of thorns, which is another houseplant that you may be familiar with. And poinsettia has been given a bad name for a long time because people think it's poisonous. Recent research shows that the poinsettia is not a poisonous houseplant. So if you have small children around and are concerned about it, don't be. Go ahead and bring one into the home for the holidays to brighten up certain parts of the home. Now, another holiday plant that we sometimes see this time of the year is the mistletoe. The berries of mistletoe are poisonous, so you might want to make a note of that, especially if you have children or pets in the house. Now in poinsettia, a lot of times we think of these specialized red leaves that we call bracts as the flowers. The actual flower are these small yellow structures right here. That's the flower, and these are specialized leaves. And there are many varieties of poinsettia available to us now that we have greenhouses in many towns across Oklahoma. We don't have to just stick with the plain old red. This particular red right here, though, is called V14 Glory. It's a nice light to medium red with medium green leaves. Gives a nice color effect. But if you want something very striking, especially against a dark green Christmas tree or greenery, you might consider V14 White. It's not your traditional poinsettia color, but it sure is pretty. Now, if you want a darker red than the Glory, you might consider picking up a Merrymaker variety. This one has a deeper, more of a cherry red, and the leaves are a darker green. The bracts you might notice on this are a little bit smaller or more narrow, but there are many of them on the plant or around the flower structure. Now, for a variegated type of poinsettia, you might consider buying a Jingle Bells variety. This is the one that has red bracts with splashes of pink in it. The only problem that horticulturists run into with growing Jingle Bells now and then is that you'll get sports that shoot off back to the dark red color. But for a homeowner, sometimes this is considered desirable because you can end up with 3 different colors in one pot. can end up with the traditional Jingle Bells form, a pink and a red. If you try to keep this for next year, you never know what it will sport back to, so it's hard telling. Now, if you want a solid pink, the V14 pink gives you a nice clear pink color. This is especially nice near a flocked Christmas tree if you're using pastel colors for decorating in the home for the holidays instead of the traditional red and green. Another one is V14 Marble. And this one has just a slight overtone of light pink over white bracts. Very, very pretty and a very different form of poinsettia for the holidays. My favorite, however, for the traditional deep, deep dark red is this variety called Dark Red. The bracts are a deep red around yellow flowers, and the leaves have quite a bit of red in them as well. So this is a nice selection for the holidays. So as you can see, if you visit your local garden center or nursery, there's a wide selection of varieties of poinsettias available to choose from to suit your indoor decorating tastes.